Guards at Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary respond to a disturbance in cell block B and discover an inmate who has been dead for 3 days. Yet somehow his name was being called during every headcount and someone was responding. Every single time, for 72 hours, someone pretended this man was still alive. And when investigators figured out why, it exposed a conspiracy that went all the way to the top. If this grips you, smash that like button, drop a comment, share this video, and subscribe because the brutal reality inside America's oldest federal prison will leave you speechless. Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary opened in 1895 in Kansas, built by the inmates themselves using limestone quarried from the surrounding hills. It's housed some of America's most notorious criminals: Machine Gun Kelly, Robert Stroud the Birdman of Alcatraz, and countless mafia bosses, spies, and murderers. The fortress sits on 300 acres, its massive walls designed to contain men who were considered beyond redemption. But what happens inside those walls has always been darker than the public knows. The dead inmate was found in his cell during a surprise inspection. Cause of death was blunt force trauma, but the medical examiner determined he'd been dead for at least 3 days. Yet during every headcount, guards had recorded him as present and accounted for. Someone had been answering for him, disguising their voice, keeping his death hidden. The question was why. Investigators discovered that the victim was a protected witness in a major federal racketeering case. He had agreed to testify against a crime family operating across multiple states, and in exchange, he'd been placed in protective custody at Leavenworth while awaiting trial. But by keeping him alive on paper for 3 extra days, someone bought time. They'd been paid $60,000 to ensure the witness never made it to court. The autopsy revealed the inmate had defensive wounds, evidence he'd fought back. Surveillance footage from that cell block had been deliberately corrupted for a 4-hour window the night he died. Leavenworth has a long history of violence masked by bureaucracy. In the 1930s, over a dozen inmates died under suspicious circumstances that were ruled accidents or natural causes. In the 70s, gang wars erupted inside the walls, and corrections officers looked the other way because they were outnumbered and afraid. Here's the chilling reality: that witness's murder was solved because of a random inspection. If guards hadn't decided to do a surprise check that morning, the cover-up might have lasted weeks. And investigators now believe this wasn't an isolated incident. There are at least 5 other inmate deaths at Leavenworth over the past decade that show similar patterns: corrupted footage, delayed reporting, and cases that were closed too quickly.